Hey, we're gonna play this clip real quick. You tell me what you think. Yeah?
Hey.
The answer is in the question. And the funny thing is I never thought of anybody to come home to enjoy the Virgin Islands. We're asking people to come home to work. We're asking people to come home and take responsibility in making the Virgin Islands a better place for your auntie, your mommy, your cousin. I mean, what do people think? I mean, the people who live here, like, we don't want Instacart and we don't want to get Uber pick us up and we don't want to be able to get Amazon arrive 4 hours later. You think the people here want to pay high taxes for, high insurance and have it hard to buy a house and not have credit? No, we don't want that. But guess what? It's important for us to build our community rather than build somebody else's community. And I want to take a moment out to thank all the men and women that decided to make the Virgin Islands their home. You see, every day I get up to work, I don't work for a heap of anonymous people that I'll never meet or never know. I work for people I meet and serve every single day. When I pass a program, I go out there. If somebody I didn't know before, he says, "Governor, thank you. I really benefited from that program." If I clean up a beach, it's one of my friends, my kids' friends, or somebody else is going to enjoy that beach. When we buy public lands and restore them for posterity, is for our people. So it's like you calling from the plantation and saying, y'all, we're going to need some help down here to get Budho to get us free. And you're saying, oh, no, it's too busy up here in the States where it's nice. I don't have time for the revolution. The Virgin Islands are going to always be hard. It's an island. We're never going to be able to provide every amenity of a Miami or a New York City. But it's getting better every single day. See, I grew up in a Virgin Islands where people didn't really drive. We walked. Our airport was a big hangar with no air condition. My grandmother worked for the government for 20 years. Her office was a shed with no air condition, and the windows was chain link fence. She worked in a garden, and I never heard her complain once. I grew up where the water used to turn off every afternoon from 1 to 5 when people get home. Where the water used to come on in the morning from 5 to 7. Where people in my neighborhood used to have to go and walk to the standpipe every afternoon to line up in order to make sure they fill them 5-gallon Western bottles in order to get running water bottle to bathe. So we've come a long way. We live in a territory now where college education is free, where we're giving people up to 100, 200,000 to buy their home, where we're trying to provide health care for everybody that comes, not just the people who have health insurance. We're still trying to pay a debt that's 30 years old retro, fix the WAPA system, secure our retirees, and make sure that the hospital can turn on the lights, all while making sure the dump ain't on fire. Ain't none of these problems we created. These are all problems we met. So if you like to VI, jam in the party, and you love hair, then you would make your way home. For the right reasons, not because you want a lap of luxury. If you do, well, stay in the States. No love lost. But we got a lot of work to do. And if you committed to your home, like I committed to your home, welcome home. We like to welcome you like Friday say. We all share our problems. We know y'all have them too.
Thank
You
you for
done?
that perspective, sir. Yeah, for now. Thank
You want to go first, or you want me to go first? I'm gonna let you go first.
Before we get into this, right? let me
Okay, first let me just put a
wait,
public disclaimer first.
wait.
Cause it been making up my face the whole time I
Hold
playing
on.
that video, dog.
Wait, Cease, wait. We
Hey, we
gotta
got,
introduce the part. Let me introduce the part real quick.
okay, yeah.
Out of the day, greetings and salutations. It's another episode of the Pass Through
Man, you come with this
podcast.
dumb fuck,
We are
dog.
both
That's not
C's
dumb ass fuck.
and Breeze. Can you not interrupt me when you know,
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go
can
ahead.
you not
Go
interrupt me?
ahead. Go
Anyways,
ahead.
and today's
I ain't nothing to you personally. It's just this video just piss me off, B. But go on.
I can't even get
Going
into the
on,
subject
everybody. Give
stuff.
thanks for coming in. Give thanks for coming in and passing through the Pass Through podcast with Seas and Breeze. Today we're gonna be talking about tell the people and what we talking about today, dog.
We talking to, so today's topic is coming home to the Virgin Islands. It's a lot. That video was a lot, right? That video was a lot, and this whole thing about coming back home to the Virgin Islands. No. All right. Disclaimer, Governor Bryan. If you ever see this, this is no shots towards you. This is nothing. Like I ain't dissing you or nothing. All right.
You could speak for yourself,
I
B.
just speaking.
I get freedom of speech. Yeah, I know my friggin' rights. I ain't care what no. Go ahead, say your part. You
I
could speak. He's
speaking for
speaking for
me.
he.
All right, Governor Bryan.
Good.
I am speaking for me. All right, as a proud, born and raised Virgin Islander, St. Croix to be exact. At this point, you just gaslighting us, bro. Like you gaslighting with the come home, dog. Like, like. Understand this, right? You said come home for the right reasons. So what you're asking us to do, who's living abroad in America, is that the right reason? To work? You want us to come home to work? So basically what you're saying is that we need to leave, stop everything we're doing up here that we work so hard for. We work hard for the stuff that we have. I know I did. Took a while, took years to get the stuff that I got. No. You check it? And you asking us to come home to work to make the island better for the greater good. So basically, I supposed to come home to deal with all the challenges of home. We ain't saying up here in America is a cakewalk, you know. Ain't a cakewalk, especially for black people in America. Ain't a cakewalk. It's not. So basically, you telling us to come home to work to make the community better. You gotta start at home first before we come home. There's a reason why we left. There's a reason for this. Just like you said, it's an island. We ain't gonna have the amenities of a Miami or a New York. Of course not. It's an island. There's only so many square miles. There's only so many things to do, so many places to go. Some people even want to leave because they want other opportunities. They want to explore. And we I don't know, dog. I don't know. Talk your piece.
So as of for me, you could say that you ain't saying no shots or nothing, my boy. Fuck all of that. Your most is disconnected from your reality compared to other people's reality and hardships they face in be. Me want hear none of that. At the end of the day, man come up here, ain't nobody come from home first and foremost to come to the States. Like we ain't been ripping our heart out our damn chest to make our friggin' life a better, like in a better position. The opportunities that you're starting off with, the school and the school systems. I for one could talk about the school systems back home because I've been in the States for multiple years, had D1 scholarships, 4 D1 scholarships, lose all of them because of the schooling system back home, like set me back like 2 years. So yeah, I could talk about that. Then third, you go to the workforce as a new person, either you just going out of school or wherever it may be, right? Or let's say you did go to States, go to a university elsewhere, study abroad, get your PhD or wherever, you come back and you get more than enough credentials to actually do the job that is needed in the community. No, because your most don't don't know the right people, you ain't gonna get a job. No matter how much college debt you might put yourself into to actually get it done. Like ultimately, you're full of it be. Like you gotta give people the right positions that actually on it and actually have the credentials to do it. Me one, I tried to actually come home and actually start my business back home. I don't do insurance. There's no carriers in the Virgin Islands, dog, that is actually for the people. Like it don't make sense. Then the hospital system, the healthcare, all of that, they're going down this. Like it don't make sense, dog. So for you to come and say what you saying, as if it's like we ain't aware or we ain't seen what going on, you literally disconnected from the community that you so called solving, me boy. Like ultimately. You gonna go to the carnival last month in Rock and then say, oh, everybody, I feel so bad for you because I ain't gotta worry about no parking. And you don't know how Rock be with carnival. Everybody got fuss and fight over where they gonna find a parking. Listen, what else you gotta say, B? Because it could keep going, B. It
Because
could keep
like
going.
again, like I said, it's no shots, but you have to understand the
Facts is
reason.
facts.
Yeah, facts is facts. You have to understand the reason why we banned from home ain't home. You have to understand that, dog, because it's like I know the reason why, and I'll say this: even if home take a drastic change, I probably still wouldn't move back home. My reason, Bree's reason, is because of the opportunities in America. I could go to any state I want to make more money, progress, and pick up different tools. Now, let's say, right? Let's say this. Let's say if I want to up and oh, okay. Let me say this. I got a child, right? I got a child, and my child is doing really good at home, right? Let's say I move home. Let's put this in a
Yeah.
different world. I move home. I got a child. My child is doing good, boy or girl, in sports or even acting. They want to act. I have to leave home. I have to leave home for the betterment of my child. My child, I see potential in my child and I see growth in my child. Me staying home. If my child say he want to go to college to play ball or he want to go to a school to act, we leave, we picking up and we leaving. That's an opportunity. You gotta understand. Yes, home is struggling, but you want to wait until it get to a point where you have to gaslight people to come home to walk,
But dog, this is the
walk.
crazy part. This is the main thing that is irritating about this whole thing, my boy.
The walk ward is fucking with me,
Ain't
man. Walking.
ain't that alone? You want people to come down there to work, my boy, and you ain't get no proper health care services for nobody. You ain't accepting, like, make it make sense, my
The,
boy.
the,
Then you
the
end up paying
healthcare,
people
the
who
healthcare is
really certified in certain things for real, dog. Like,
the
come
healthcare is
on.
bad. The school system is bad. Even to get a job, dog, you gotta fight to get a job because ain't what you know is who you know
Who you know?
back home to get a job, especially a job that paying. Dog, ain't get, at least I don't know. I could be wrong. But me here, but no jobs paying what I getting paid. And even what I getting paid still ain't, I ain't living comfortably off of what I getting paid, but bills getting paid though. You check
Mm.
it? But I not comfortable. I can't just sit here and be like, oh yeah, I comfortable, I good. No. I going progress. I try and get to that 6 figure mark. I pushing it. You check it, but still, I am an aircraft mechanic. There's only so many planes flying in and out of St. Croix.
Ain't nobody got a job for you, my boy.
No
And
job.
if you go
I
and
am
if
not.
you go and you if you go and you open your own business back home, you're gonna have so much hurdles you got overcome, dog. On top of your personal career maintenance that you gotta do, like the recertification, making sure all your licenses
Yeah.
and your stuff on point. Like that's
Like it's
additional
so
stress you gotta
crazy
deal
too.
with, my boy.
Even just to get a gun license, even just to get that is a pain in the ass, dog. To even have a firearm, right? But also too, the crime is bad. The crime home is bad. It always been that way. It ain't been, like it ain't like we saying that the Virgin is the worst place. Everywhere have crime, right? But there is certain restrictions and limitations home that you don't have up here. Just like what he said, Instacart, um, Amazon.
Hmm.
You know how long it takes for you to get an order off of Amazon to
But
come to you?
all of those things is privileges, dog. Like
Exactly. It's privileges. It's
first and
privileges.
foremost, you can't even do the bare minimum that you got make a society function, dog. Like nobody could actually deal with a road service. Nobody like they're starting to do it now, but it take about 10 to 20 years before they could actually get out there and not control, dog. Then on top of that, then on top of that, your health care. So let we say something happened to you while you come down there to work, my boy. It don't have the proper health care, or the hospital down there is not to the standards a hospital is supposed to be at. So you could actually get a proper treatment, my boy. Ain't nobody coming down there to play around and be losing their life or their arm and leg and stuff because they ain't getting the proper needs. That is like, it don't make
It's
sense, my
it's
boy.
it's
You're
blasphemy
exposing
at this
yourself.
point. It's blasphemy at this point because look at it. Look at the biggest problem that we have back home. Matter of fact, I want to say the two biggest problems.
I don't mind the topic, I don't mind the topic, but that specific video got on my skin because it's like,
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Like
nigga,
what he
you
was
the
saying was kind of
main one.
outrageous.
You the main one, my boy. You the main one that could do something about it. But you want to join in and want point finger. Look at yourself, my boy.
It was outrageous for him to say work, but what I going to do, right? Hear me out. What I going to do coming home? I going to come home to stress about. I said this in a post on Facebook. I coming home to stress about WAPA for one. Biggest problem we have back home, WAPA. Biggest problem. Second,
Once again, that's something that they have access to because the government owns either whatever amount they own. I don't give a fuck. It's their frigging company at the end of the day. You overcharging the citizens. People is paying higher bills for the power and water
exactly. Like
compared to the mortgage, my
I
boy,
have to
or
go
rent.
home and worry about WAPA cutting off every minute, right? That's one.
1,700, dude. Other day, call my sister and so when she was back home, right? She gonna wap her to pay her bill. Here it is. She coming out. Somebody going like no, she going in. Somebody coming out, kicking up, big kicking up. Oh, I don't even go on like this in public, but this figure is ridiculous. I almost gonna charge me $1,700, $1,700,
That's
dollars,
crazy.
and I like
That's rent. That's rent
$1,700.
up. You have for like a 2, 3 bedroom apartment.
Exactly,
That's crazy.
exactly,
And we ain't
and that's
talking
why
mortgage, We ain't talking mortgage. We talking a light bill, water bill, water bill.
it ridiculous, dude.
Dog,
And
dog.
ultimately, if you choose to actually stay down there and be stuck in that situation and not bite the bullet and just go and risk it all and just make the difference up here in some way, shape, or form, you're gonna be stuck in the same cycle over
Mm-hmm,
and over again,
mm-hmm,
pointing fingers after each other.
mm-hmm.
You might get the credentials to have the career in your field that you want, but because you don't know the right person, you ain't gain it. It's not
Like,
merit based. It's not based off of your merits. Is what gonna cause you to get the rewarding positions back home. No, it's about
like,
who you know.
like, you gotta worry about WAPA, right? WAPA bills, right? You gotta worry about grocery prices. A carton of egg,
Hmm.
or not a carton of egg, a gallon of milk is probably like what, $20, $15, probably more. Like, bro, you gotta understand.
Dog, dog.
We coming home to an environment that is you basically going to put people in a position where they're gonna either be depressed for one because of the
That's definitely going to
that
happen.
is going to happen. People are going to be depressed. People are going to be outraged, and then you are going to have a bigger problem on your hands, right? When people come home, listen to you, they listening to you, they hearing you out, and they say, you know what? Okay, I gonna come
Let
home.
me go home, man.
Let
Yeah,
me go
like
home,
yeah, man. Let me
and
go
they
home.
come home, and home
You know
is
what?
not progressing the way
In that,
you thought it was going to because
no
you're coming
breeze,
home to work.
no
And
breeze.
then
Let me tell you. Let me tell
you have
you.
another problem on your hands when people are outraged and then they go back and they leave. What gonna happen next?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Like the real thing that gonna happen, or what has happened to me. For example, right? I go home. Like, yeah, man, I could actually do what I doing. I could easily work virtually, or even if I doing business down there. You know what I mean?
Mm,
First and foremost,
mm,
there is no like I as an insurance broker slash financial advisor, right? Now the carriers that I will work with to protect families in the Virgin Islands, first
mm,
and foremost,
mm.
right? You try and say, okay, well then let me try and talk to certain officials to try and get down there. Ain't happening. However, keep in mind, you have the Virgin Islands, and their license out of all 50 states or even the territories, their license is the second highest, most expensive. Now, mind you, when you buy a license, an extended non-resident license or whatever it may be, it's supposed to last you 2 years.
Mm.
Tell me why their license is the second highest, the most expensive, and it only lasts you 1 year. What kind of book of business you could actually upkeep or even initiate with 1 year of having your license in a certain industry that nobody really knows about or really you know what I mean? So you still have to educate the community. Then you still have to actually see who want to actually give it a actual try because they're gonna use it. You know what I mean? And not rely on the government, but actually have these private companies helping them as a member. It don't make sense, dog. Like it's a lot of layers to the whole like the whole frig up
Like, like,
shit,
like,
dog. Like it
like
crazy, it's mind
the
blowing.
biggest thing that happened to the island that caused a lot of people to move is Hess. When Hess
Yeah.
shut down, when Hess shut down, that was it. The island took a decline, a big decline. You have
But
you
Breeze,
you you have to put people in a position to want to come and make that move.
but
Open. Mhm.
ain't that it have people like me. Like I ain't saying ain't that alone, It is that but more. You have to be able to like honestly speaking, as man, once we actually looking at a place to live, like state or wherever it is we going, we gotta be able to see ourselves winning there.
Or
If we
for me,
can't see,
that I am definitely that type of person when it comes to
yeah, if but that's any man. You gotta be able to see where you're gonna be at, where you could win, where you could be comfortable, your family could be comfortable, you could even have more churn if necessary or if you want to. Easily. That's it. Your happiness gotta be maintained. Here it is. Back home is like, yeah, it cool, Like I ain't saying you can't do it. You could do it, but it have a lot more hardships that gonna be falling in place. It might be if you from home, first and foremost, you gotta be able to really adjust, or as your kids and you will go through a severe culture shock.
you know what that sounds like to me? When all I hearing when I be replaying that back in my head when he said Virgin Island Islanders abroad need to come back home to work. One word popping up in my mind.
And he
Slavery.
himself ain't friggin' walking. Not frig
Slavery,
piss me
dog.
off.
That's what I'm looking like slavery. Basically, you is the man with a whip and we is the people
And then
in the
and then
yard.
he calling up here the plantation. You can imagine this man, dog. Again, boy, Miss on watch right. I gonna be honest with you. I have been able to learn a lot more, accomplish a lot more in a shorter amount of time because I don't really have nobody holding me back from what it is I truly want to do, dog.
It's
Home,
it's
home. You really ain't making no moves up the ladder unless they really want you to. Like you have to understand that no matter how hard you work, you ain't going nowhere farther unless they want you to, or if that person who is the top boss at the end of this biggest supervisor, manager, whatever you call it, choose to finally retire. It's not going based off of your metrics and your like how you actually measuring up around everybody in your workplace, dog. It's
I
not.
I love home. Nobody could
I do too.
ever diss home. Anybody that ain't from home can't diss home. Like these Americans, these foreigners, they can't diss home, dog. You check it. I born and raised. Went I my whole life. I spent half of my life there. So ain't nobody could come and diss home. But
Dog,
but
at the end of the day, home is home. Don't get me wrong. Home is home. If you actually have the sorted like certain key factors that you actually need, the necessities and a control home, first and foremost, the main thing I would say is have your health insurance be something that is like a PPO plan. If you live in the Virgin Islands, you could still, if worst case happen, you could get fly like they could fly you out to a different hospital, like in Florida, Texas, wherever it is you need to go to get a proper treatment. But don't sit home and rely on that hospital or them clinics or like even have doctors like it's really rough, and it ain't even it's the doctor's fault, dude. It's really how everything's so expensive back home. They have to
I
share offices sometime, dog. It ain't
I
easy.
I am. I'll just say this. I am too spoiled, bro. I'm too spoiled with what I have up here. For one, I have a place that the only time power will go out is either if a snowstorm hit over here or if lightning hit a pole and yeah, that's the only time power going. And it's
Dog, it
rare,
I
right?
don't have a problem with those things,
That's
dog.
one. But wait, that's one. Gas prices, they start to go up, but they're not as crazy as home. That's for two, right? Groceries ain't the best, but they're cheaper than home, right? Now, I know there's people that is in America that is struggling up here. They're struggling in the States. And I've seen this a lot. A lot of people move from home, they struggle up here, and they go back home. America ain't built for everybody. Home ain't built for everybody neither. You check it, it all depends on your mindset. If you make it comfortable, if you make living comfortable home, people will go back. There's a lot. You will be surprised, Governor Bryan. You will be surprised of a lot of people that want to go back home, but they're choosing not to because they know how the lifestyle is. I promise you, you change stuff home, what you see a lot of people start moving back.
But my thing is, I will not be one of them.
Me neither.
I will come home and visit.
I, I,
I will come and visit.
I
I will
personally, I
definitely come
love
and
home.
visit. I will come and when it's carnival or
Yeah,
festival, or even if I gotta go home to visit
I
or whatever time I choose to go home and visit, I
right.
will definitely throw
Yeah,
my
I love
funds
home. I love
from up
home.
here into the community back home. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you can't gaslight or like try and make nobody feel shame because they take the risk upon themselves to go out into the world
Mm.
and leave 84 square miles of land that they're native to come up here.
84,000 or 8,400, 84,000 or 8,400. Whatever the fucking number
what
is.
whatever it is. At the end of the day, you can't turn to we and tell we like, oh, we wrong because we ain't choosing to move back home
Yeah, you
to
can't say
work,
that. You cannot say
to
that.
work,
You
not
cannot say that.
not to open your own business in the field that you really want to
You
do,
cannot say that.
but to work for who? Who you going to work for? That's the next thing you gotta
There is
figure out
no
when you go home. Now
manipulation.
when you go home and you find a job, well, who you working for? Then you gotta work. You gotta look at who are you working with and who are you actually working under. Therefore, that's going to have a lot to do with it, dog. 'Cause I ain't know about nobody else, but when I was home working, I did not like that shit one bit, and it felt
What's
like
the
it was
minimum wage?
insanity.
What's the minimum wage?
Me, when I will back home though, the minimum wage was 7.25. I will consider one of the lucky ones because I was making 10.
Like,
No, not 10. I'm making $8.50.
you know what's
I will
crazy?
consider the lucky one.
Thinking about this, right? When I used to work plaza when I was in high school, dog, I really was getting paid $7.25 an hour, you know, dog. 7.25 an hour, you know. You could imagine that? You could dog. Yeah,
But the
I have
economy back
bills
in
to
them
pay,
days, it wasn't that bad. You check? The
dog,
economy back in them days wasn't too bad
dog. Like
compared to now.
it's crazy that people is not getting paid at least in the 20s. Even $15 an hour at least. How is minimum wage still at 7.20? Again, this is this is what I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It could go on up. I don't know. I'm just
And then this is the thing too. This is the thing too, right? A lot of people will never know this, and probably I gonna sell out a lot of businesses by saying this, yeah. But a lot of people don't know. Like when you go through the interview and everything, you could actually like if they say, okay, we're gonna pay you $12 an hour, right? And you say, okay, but this is what it come with, and this is a requirement. But okay, what about like 14? I really wanted $16 an hour, but we say around 14. You could negotiate while you there in the friggin' meeting at your interview to see if they really vibe with you or not. Like that salary that you agreeing to is you actually agreeing to it.
mm,
It's a contract. As an employer, this is what I need from you. This is what I'm gonna be paying you. If they feel like you really got the criteria to actually get what you need to get, you could actually negotiate with them. A lot of people don't do that, dog. A lot of people don't know that. See, at the end of the day, when you get into business, from the time you start talking numbers, you getting into a business contract. So therefore, you always make sure you state your pieces and they state their pieces as well. You have to negotiate that. Like, don't settle for
Like
nothing.
for me, so okay, as far as my career, right? Like I said, I'm an aircraft mechanic. So I had to work on different planes, right? Well, throughout my career, I worked on different planes, right? If I decide to stay in this career, this field, my goal is to either work on wind turbines or or rockets that Elon Musk and what he names the shoot up in space. That's my goal. That's where I would like to progress my career because I have a partner I used to work with um that working on rockets right now, and I was like that's some cool shit.
That's dope.
Yeah. So with my license, that's a possibility. Those could open for me, right? I can't do that home. I can't progress that. I can't work on wind turbines home. I can't work on rockets home. I can't do that. That's you got like people want progression. People have different careers that they could progress from, right? Now, as far as a content creator, you could be a content creator home, but there's only so
But that
much.
that that don't require much, dog.
It do, no,
In
no, it don't.
actuality.
It don't. But the attention span of a lot of people, you have to catch it in the first 6 seconds of your content, right? And there's only so many places, again, there's only so many places to go home. There's only so many things to do. And then another thing too, right? This is another thing that a lot of people that complain about. Whenever they go in, because there is always a scene sometimes, especially carnival time, there's always events going on. After a certain time, there ain't nothing open to get nothing to eat, dog. You mean to tell me at 12 o'clock at midnight, I said I want to go home at midnight, ain't no place open? I gotta go home. I always have to, you gotta make sure I have food cooked
I
in the
even
fridge.
see I see a partner said that heck yesterday on TikTok that he was like, y'all like everybody keep asking me why I won't go back home. But to be honest with you, McDonald's ain't even open 24/7, so no. I said what? Like it's my wild
I
dog.
can't even go out get McChicken after being
I
drunk in the
telling you.
club, dog. Come on,
that
dog.
fam that fam had me laughing. But I mean, like, I don't mind them type of thing that because at the end of the day I see like the moral value to it too, that
Yeah,
like back
you
home.
don't, but some people do.
But some people do.
Some
I
people do.
understand that.
Like me.
You check. Like I like the fact that by 10:30 or whatever, everything not shut down. You got a low volume of people on the road. Cause they fit there someplace like they in designated areas. Everybody they in a designated area. You know what I mean? I like to see stuff like that. But I ain't saying I want to see it all the time
You
though.
know how
Like
much
I
money, right? Dog. Every
think
time
we're to
I
miss
go
out on
home,
a lot of money just from it being closed out like that too.
it's not even that. You know how much money I gotta
What?
spend when I gotta go home for carnival, dog? Dog, I gotta spend money
Who
when I go
don't?
home, dog.
Who don't?
And most of the time, right? The crazy part about this, most of the time, that money is on food and gas. Food is
And rum. Definitely rum.
yes, dude.
And rum.
I just spend so much money on food when I go home, dog. But what I will
But
say
home,
is, right?
home, home is a vibe. Like this is
It's
one thing I
always a
could
vibe.
say, right?
It's always a
Don't let me like make a you can't solidify you done already got your mindset to go home. I talking for me. Like my
yeah,
personal
yeah.
experiences, my personal career, my business, them, all of that there. Home, I'll venture off when I'm ready to do that, like probably retire or something. That's what I did. But my main thing is home actually you could it's easy to have that work life balance. But as a youngster, I said from the age of 18 upwards to 50, 55, you don't have time to be chilling that much, dog. Like you need to be getting to the bag. Like that's where you're supposed to be focused on at that time in your life. I personally ain't going back home because I don't already see that's a slow pace type of vibe. I'm more a fast paced type of dude who like multiple hustles legally. Let me put that there in there. So therefore, it's like I don't see it for me right now. But it has a great work life balance. That's no problem for you if you want that. As of for me, no.
Let's just say this. Eh, Home is always going to be love, vibes. I will always visit home. Living? No, thank you. I'm good. I don't want to live home. I don't like. I'm good. I personally preferably would not want to go and live home. I am good. I have a life that I work hard for up here so far. Ain't the best life, but it is a life that I work for because you know how bad things was when I was living in Florida. You know how my life was back then, dog.
Yeah,
Look at me. I work
but
hard for
Breeze,
life right now.
this is my thing that like I tried to actually attempt that couple times, right? And it's like ultimately when you come home and you see people that you went to school with and them on down the road walking on the side of the street and they ain't getting nobody to really give them no professional help to get it better to get them better again, that's a problem. And it's like the whole society just get used to it. Like they ain't even to say like the government official workers or whatever, like really try and say, okay, this is a big problem. Like we need to put this and this in place. Hospital should have immediate care or whatever it is, like shit like that. They ain't doing none of that. I don't know if they are trying right now, but when I personally went through certain things with family members and stuff like that, they ain't had no resources, dog. Like it doesn't exist back home. You understand? So for he to sit down and be like, oh, to help mommy, your grandmother, your auntie, um, we all has left simply because we tried to make it work back home and it was a it was a dead end every way you turn. The only solution was to actually move to the States, that
Governor Bryan, listen to me very carefully. You you gaslighting. We better than this. We better than this. You gaslighting. You gaslighting with the come home. Stop. Just please.
and trust me, Brian, you have very, very smart individuals from the Virgin Islands who would gladly give you advice on certain things that you will actually need to have in place. But you can't just say, oh, we need to come back home to work. Because we tried that.
It's like
We tried that.
it's like you guilt tripping me. It's like you guilt tripping me. No, bro. No,
That ain't gonna work.
no, bro. That ain't gonna work.
You got
That
you
ain't
I
gonna
ain't no lawyer, right? Me no lawyer, but I will argue you down for this one,
That
dog.
that ain't going to work, bro. Trust me. You're gonna have a
And we
lot of people outraged. Okay, you need to. I think I kind of understand in a sense why people from home or these officials want people to move back home to make the community stronger, but you can't want people to come back home to make the community stronger. You have to find
this
out
is
to
this
make
is
it
my
stronger
thing.
with what you have home or
This
find
is my
resources.
thing though. My main thing is, yeah, okay, cool. I hear what you're saying. I hearing your plead, right? But ultimately, you want people to come home to work, right? What about the people who been doing their career up here for a whole ton of years? Now they're deciding to come home. Are you going to have those older individuals who is more than able to retire? No, to actually pass the torch on to the younger generation? Are you going to be able to have them severance packages ready for them people to really say, okay, I retiring now, I have a proper 401k, I have all this here, and then therefore they could actually do it comfortably? Because that's what it's all about. Some reason they probably feel like they still gotta be hustling and working as hard as they want, so they're trying to hold on to that job because they don't already know if they lose that job, they don't already jeopardize their whole financial standing or they they the comfortability of home. You understand? So do you have the community ready for that type of approach if that's what you want people like myself and Breeze to come back home with our career to do something for the community. That's what you need to ask first because you gotta have some type of thing in place for that to that.
We gotta do better.
Am I wrong, Breeze?
You're not wrong. We just gotta do
Okay.
better. We have to do better, but that's not the way. I'll just say this. That's not the way to plead for people to come back home to make the community stronger. That's not for mommy, for auntie. Nah, bro. You guilt tripping that ain't gonna work. You gotta come up with a different alternative.
I telling you, cause as soon as he said Africa, I was like, oh, when me got nothing to worry about. I mean, family don't leave anyway. Like
Yeah,
I
my
get one,
parents
I get family still, but few.
I get parents and cousins and I still get family home. But think about it this way, right? You still have Virgin Islanders coming home, right? Start with this. I'll say this. Check Breeze. Start with this. Do better with Carnival home. Do better with the events. Do better with village, especially village. Do better with that. Bring people to come back home. Do start there. Start with Carnival and start with these other stuff throughout the year, right?
That's a fact.
That's how you slowly bring in the crowd.
You ease them in.
Because
You
people gonna
slowly
see
ease
how
them
better
in.
again, right? Watch. People gonna see how better again. And they're gonna be like, what? Home game better, man. I might think about it. I might even come home. Let's say this. I won't live home. I'll probably come home for like 3 months though. I'll come home for 3 months.
That 3 months turn to 6 months.
Mm.
6 months turn into 7 months. Then it go all the way to a year. Then
Well,
two
if
years.
you are a person that have a plan, you ain't going to get stuck home. You just home for a little bit. You ain't going to get stuck home. If you go home if you go home without a plan, then it gonna turn into 6 months to a year to 2 years and so on and so forth. Have a plan. But start with Carnival. Start with Carnival, I promise you will see a difference. You gonna see a difference. Watch.
And that to me, this is the thing, right? Every time I have left home, like at one point in time, like when I have first leave St. Croix and come up here, like when you have move up here and so, right?
Mhm,
I was living up here for about 8 to 10 years without actually visiting home ever.
mhm,
Then I perfected my craft, what I want to do in my career, lawn, and you know what I mean.
mhm.
At that point, now I go back home. This is the fucked up part. It crazy. It is like a bittersweet moment, right?
Mhm.
As I get off the plane, woof, that heat wave hit you.
Yeah.
You feel the
Long
breeze.
time.
You feel the breeze, right? And then it's like, what? At the home ras.
Mhm,
So it's like a deja vu moment right then and there. Right then and there, right?
mhm.
As you going around the community, you seeing everything the same way. Ain't nothing changed, but it got a little worse.
Don't talk about after Maria hit. Oh my.
No, Maria, I went back before
Yeah,
Maria.
I know, but I went home after Maria is what I'm saying. When I went home after Maria,
For
it was
to
it
me,
was bad.
after Maria, they had a little bit more progress because they had to fix certain things.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
how crazy it was. So it's like when I went home before Maria, I get off the plane and I was like, what? I went in a time capsule, man. Sync right on age,
Like
it just don't move.
Elena closed down. What's that other school that get knocked? Where's the Claro?
No, Alexander
Alexander,
Henderson.
my bad. Yeah,
I
Alexander get
used to
knocked
go.
down.
I used to go to Alexander Henderson. Dog.
Man,
Years they had issue with mole,
tough.
and it's like this still like this is from since I was a little kid, dog. Like at the age of 7, I going there. So it's like I don't already know. Like this ain't nothing new, dog. You check, like ain't nothing new, but
That's tough.
ultimately, I understand what the governor trying to say. You're going about it the wrong way. You gotta have a better approach, my boy, because you gotta think of it like if me and you there face to face. Cause if you say to somebody like me like that, like you come up here and they like, yeah man, good to meet you, man. How you doing, governor? And you say, oh, your people like your mom's gonna up, yeah, you ain't doing shit, you ain't trying to even come back home. Big radins, my boy, I tell you that rad your bad dog. Bad.
That's like asking Timmy to come home and spend all his bread that he worked hard for and the spurs to fix the roads fix everything home. You what? You can't do that, bro.
To then start a Virgin Islands League.
You can't do that, bro. You can't.
And I ain't saying that ain't a problem. I ain't saying that ain't a problem. I ain't saying that's a problem in me. What I'm saying is your approach, me boy. You have to, you got to think about what you're saying, because people will actually sacrifice a lot to be up here and become somebody, my boy.
I felt that sacrificing a lot because they sacrificed a lot.
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
So
Ain't no cake walk up here at all.
it's not.
Home,
Not.
home. You actually have home. You actually have back, like people that will back you up. You have your family, your friends, people that you gonna meet along the way that you're just cool with. Home
Right.
up here, no.
Before we close out, let me just say this. Again, Virgin Islands is always love. St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, even Water Island. The US Virgin Islands is love, okay? And all of
It's love
Iowa who
alone.
they in this delusional mindset that saying people hate home. Ain't no hate. Nobody hates home, bro. All right? Get
Nah,
through our thick skull. Nobody hate home. Because if we hated home, we wouldn't be repping home as hard as we repping home. We wouldn't be coming back to visit. You check it? We like stop. Just stop it. Get some help.
yeah, man.
All right?
At the end of the day,
Get some help.
St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, we the Virgin Islands, and Water Island. Let me not forget it. The US Virgin Islands, right? We could either be part of the issue, or we could try and be more of the solution. I think
Yes.
Breeze, we try and actually we actually come up here to be a part of the solution. However, we had the government like he feel like okay, too much people had the same idea, but the resources and the islands is very limited. You understand? So ultimately, we all love the VA. We from the VA. That's home. Ain't nothing more heartwarming than thinking about going home, or you get like a little child all over again because you're going home. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, the resources that you gain to the people need to be expanded, or you need to actually give them referrals. If you could give them a referral to a better source that you don't have, like that's still fine. That cause I is the type of person that gonna search it anyway.
Fix the problems in house first. All right?
Yeah.
And all the foreigners, all the people in the states that are watching.
Look at it like this, right? If he fixed the stuff in house and you need help, you get reinforcements. We could come and help. That ain't mean we gotta stay, but we could come and help probably.
Just as a whole, home is love. Like I said, tourists, if I want to go to the Virgin Islands, we encourage you to. We encourage you to go. But this has been another episode of the Pass Through Podcast with your boy C's and Breeze. C's, take we out and give a little message to Governor Bryan. Give you a little message. Fix
Or give you a message,
a little fix what?
man, fix your motherfucking face, nigga. There we go.
All right, man. Y'all be easy.